We will now be looking at variables and expressions and how to use substitution, how to be plugging in numbers for variables to solve our problems. This is very, very similar to using order of operations. We just have one extra step. Before we can solve the problem, we need to plug in numbers for those variables. So that's all we're going to do in these problems. This first one says A plus B. And if I look up here, it tells us what A and B is. We just need to plug that into our problem. So A equals 2. So wherever I see an A, I'm going to write 2. Plus, wherever I see a B, I'm going to write 4. Now I can just solve it just like we did order of operations. I just have 2 plus 4 is 6. So all we're doing is using the idea of substitution, substituting a number in for a variable to solve the problem. We can look at this next one. It just says ABC. Remember, if we have letters right next to each other or a letter and a number next to each other, that operation is multiplying. So I'm going to be multiplying those three numbers together. So A, remember, was 2. And then I'm going to use a parentheses to help us remember that is multiplication because parentheses stand for multiplying. B is 4. And C is 5. So this problem is really 2 times 4 times 5. Using order of operations, I know that I'm going to do my multiplying from left to right. So I have 2 times 4 is 8, and I still have times 5 left. So now I have 8 times 5, which is 40. So my answer is 40. In this problem, we're going to be doing two operations. Here we have 5 times b. Remember, a variable and a number next to each other means multiplying. And then we're going to be dividing by another variable or another number. So we'll have two steps in this one, two different operations. So first step, let's just plug in all those numbers for our variables. I have a 5 times b, and b is 4. And then we're going to divide by c, and c is 5. Now, with ordered operations, we always multiply from left to right, or in this case, because of the one part on top of another, we always go top to bottom. So I'm going to solve the top first, and then divide by the bottom. So 5 times 4 is 20, and then I'm still left with divide by 5, and 20 divided by 5 will give us 4. So my answer in this problem is 4. So as you can see, when we're working with variables and expressions, an expression is just this, our variables and our numbers all together. All we're doing is just plugging those numbers into our variable and solving with order of operations. We can go through these other problems down here on the bottom, but it's that same idea. Plug in the numbers and then solve. We'll do one more just to make sure that we have the idea down, make sure we know what we're doing. So c squared, c is 5, I'm going to do that here to the side, squared, or 5 times 5 that means, plus b, which is 4, that's 4 squared, plus 1, and it's that whole thing divided by a, which was 2. So now we have lots of order of operations steps to do in here. We don't have any parentheses, but I do see some exponents. I see a 5 squared, or a 5 times 5, which is 25. And I also see a 4 squared, or a 4 times 4, which is 16. And then left 1 left up there on the top, all divided by 2. As we said in the last problem, we're going to do everything on top first, then we'll divide on the bottom. So here I have 25 plus 16. 25 plus 10 would give us 35. 35 plus 6 will give us 41. 41 plus 1 more is 42. I just kind of did that in my head, shortcut way. If you need to, you could write that down. All left by divided by 2. 42 divided by 2 will give us 21. So lots of steps in there, just following our order of operations. So if you're ever asked to substitute a number in for a variable, just remember, just plug those numbers in, solve using order of operations.